Hometown hero Captain Larry Taylor has died. He's the Vietnam veteran who just months ago became the nation's newest recipient of the Medal of Honor.
The National Congressional Medal of Honor Society mourns his passing along with friends, fellow service members, politicians and leaders, and everyday Americans whose lives he touched along the way. Cornelia Nicholson joins us live downtown at the Coolidge National Medal of Honor Heritage Center with more. Cornelia.
Cindy, Greg, the word that comes to mind when people describe Captain Larry Taylor is selfless. They say he was always looking out for others, and it was really evident in his heroic actions in the Vietnam War and everything he did after the war. Now, he did pass away last night at his home in Signal Mountain at the age of 81. Those with the Coolidge National Medal of Honor Heritage Center say he was larger than life and a real John Wayne. In a daring mission, Captain Larry Taylor rescued 4 American soldiers on a Cobra helicopter surrounded by a Vietnam battalion on June 18, 1968. And after 55 years, his action during the Vietnam War earned him the Medal of Honor from President Biden. The Coolidge National Medal of Honor Heritage Center mourns his passing and remembers his legacy.
And that story on that day really represents who Larry was as a veteran, as a community leader.
No greater love a man hath than to lay down his life for a fellow friend. He was that kind of guy. He not only talked, but he walked the talk.
To embody the courage and commitment Captain Taylor had, the Heritage Center will have a permanent exhibit to share his story. Now, in lieu of flowers, the center is asking that you make a donation to the special fund to support the long-term maintenance and care of his exhibit. Now, funeral arrangements for Captain Larry Taylor are still in the works, but as of right now, you can come here to the Heritage Center. They have a book where you can write down your condolences to his family. It'll be here until the funeral, and then it'll be presented to his wife. Live in Chattanooga, Cornelia Nicholson, Local 3 News.
Cornelia, thank you. Local leaders are sharing their memories of Captain Taylor. Chattanooga Mayor Tim Kelly says in part, quote, "I had the honor of knowing Captain Taylor from the car lot to the White House, but he was always the same humble, honest hero. He would never advertise his accomplishments, but I know his moving story will spread pride and a spirit of service throughout our community for generations to come."
Representative Chuck Fleischman says Captain Larry Taylor was a hero who exemplified the best of Tennessee and America. I'm honored to have gotten to know Larry and his family and to participate in getting Larry awarded the Medal of Honor.
During those heroic moments in Vietnam, you can only imagine what was going through the minds of the 4 Army Rangers who Larry Taylor saved. Local 3 spoke with Sergeant David Hill. He's the only living survivor of Captain Taylor's rescue mission. We spoke with him in September. He says on that June night in 1968, he and the other 3 Rangers had used all of their ammunition. They only had their knives. He says if Captain Taylor had not come when he did, they would have died. Sergeant Hill says the rescue was the most daring of the Vietnam War, and it was carried out in a helicopter designed only for attack. Captain Taylor not only saved lives, he changed the future.
He met the family of one of the other guys from Maryville, Tennessee, Gerald Patty. And it was a big family, and mother, his wife, his daughters, kids, they wouldn't have been there. And they're going to go on to have other offspring of their own. The same my 4-month-old grandson was here today with my son Ian and his wife Jessica. Like General Bell pointed out, they wouldn't have been here.
Sergeant Hill says he will forever be indebted to Captain Taylor, and he says the only reason he has a son and grandchildren is because of how heroic Taylor was.
Captain Taylor was previously awarded the Silver Star for action while engaged against a U.S. enemy or in military operations involving a conflict with an opposing force.
We're getting a first look at the exhibit dedicated to Captain Taylor. Will be like inside that Medal of Honor Heritage Center downtown. This image is for the permanent exhibition. They're expected to be completing that on June 18th.
Captain Taylor flew a Cobra helicopter like the one you see on your screen that flew into Chattanooga for his parade in September. And we talked to a Vietnam veteran, Walter Reed, at the parade, who said the helicopter flown was after his time, but it still brought back memories. The Cobra is a single-engine attack helicopter that was rapidly deployed as an interim gunship in response to the Army's needs during the Vietnam War.
He was a hell of a guy, or is a hell of a guy, and the best thing they could say is that there was 4 families didn't have. There's 4 guys whose names aren't on the wall, so which is just makes it a special day.
Reed told us the parade honoring Captain Taylor is something he will never forget.
5 other local men have received the Medal of Honor as well. Among them, Sequatchie County's Raymond Cooley, Charles H. Coolidge of Signal Mountain, Ray Duke of Whitwell, Paul Huff of Cleveland, and Desmond Doss, who lived in Collegedale in North Georgia for many years. He's buried at the Chattanooga National Cemetery.
And we'll have more memories and stories of Captain Taylor throughout our newscast.
Coming up at 5, I'll share some of my memories from the time I got to spend with him in Washington, D.C., with him and his family. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with them.